everybody. Luscious Johnny Lang, Gentleman Jim Mills, fantastic Jays down here at
Island View Waterfront Cafe.
Saturday night, baby. You know why we're here. Me and GJ are about to unleash our next top 10. But before we do that, we'd like to thank the folks that allow us to do what we love to do. GJ, what's that?
The top 10s, Johnny.
Man, we love those top 10s.
Yes, we do.
That's Robbie's Bar and Grill, Edgemere, Maryland. Don't forget my boy GJ's place, the place that you can get it all. That's Starlight Corner Pond, Edgewood, Maryland, Starlight Plaza. GJ, what else?
And Conquer Apparel out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Don't forget to use our discount codes when you go on the website to get 10% off apparel. WWGJD
and WWJLD. That's 10%, baby. And all those people, all those sponsors are down there in the description. Please hit those things because when you help them, you help us, and we thank you. Okay, GJ, what are we doing?
This week's top 10 is greatest athletes that wore a Baltimore uniform.
Oh, hey, that's one of my favorites. You know why?
Because we're Baltimoreans.
Baltimoreans, at least the moron. Well, but I'm glad that we're doing something like this. And before we get started, we'd like to give a shout out to Austin Goodman, first winner of our swag contest. And we're using his suggestion for a top 10. And my boy Austin is going to receive himself a t-shirt with our new logo.
Yep, we'll get them soon.
I'd say that we appreciate it, and we appreciate all the suggestions, and there are a bunch of good ones.
And all the comments also.
And fantastic.
Yes.
Hey, this is really happening right now.
We're getting there.
We're getting there, okay. So GJ, let's do this.
Number 10. 11-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first all-team Super Bowl champion, the first Baltimore Ravens Hall of Famer, our man J.O. Jonathan Ogden.
The first and everything?
The first, he was our first draft pick, our first Hall of Famer. Well, not the first Ring of Honor, but still.
And a beast.
And a beast.
You're not getting that quarterback or that running back.
He set a precedent at a tackle that lasted for decades.
Yeah, and I tell you, and a great guy, and great for the community of Baltimore. And he's done a lot of great things, and God, he's so great to watch.
Yes, he was. Number 9, Stan the Man Stanegovic.
Hey,
231 goals, 311 assists, 3-time All-Star, MVP in 1984. He was the top scorer.
And I tell you, it wouldn't have been the list without Stanegovic. Of course, the Blast. I mean, how many titles over the years?
8 to 10, I think they got. Yeah.
I mean, you better be high.
One of the most underrated sports franchises in history is the Baltimore Blast.
You know, I hear all the stories. Miss Patty Lang, that's where she spent her time back in the day when those babies were really rolling. But I tell you, we're lucky to have them in Baltimore.
Yes, they are. Number 8.
Mr. Plastic himself.
Would you stop? He played between 65 and 84, 268 games, had a 2.86 ERA, over 2,200 strikeouts, 3-time world champion, Hall of Famer, Jim Palmer.
You forgot to add 13 plastic surgeries.
Will you stop? Well, you can't say anything, besides the place about Jim Palmer.
He's a hell of a player.
Oh yeah. He's still with the Oriole organization. He's an announcer now.
Scarred me as a young child.
Will you stop?
with the underwear commercial.
Anyway, moving on to number 7. Offensive tackle. Played from 57 to 67. 2-time world champ. 8 Pro Bowls. Hall of Famer. Offensive tackle. Another offensive tackle.
Right.
Jim Parker. He was a little before my time, but I went back and watched some of the videos that he was in, and let me tell you, he pancaked a lot of people.
Maniac.
This guy was phenomenal.
Well, I mean, some of these guys, and all of them are Hall of Famers, but don't get to do that they should, because these guys that were the stars, man, they're the ones and these guys that were still stars.
Oh yeah, but without him, I mean, you wouldn't have the line that they had.
Magnet was a star.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a real star.
He was a real star. Number 6, played for the Washington Bullets from 68 to 81, 2nd overall pick in the draft, coached the Bullets from 88 to 94, NBA champ, 5-time All-Star, Wes Unseld.
One of the guys that did make a transition from Baltimore to Washington to the Bullets.
To the Bullets, right?
We got to change our name.
Anyway, they changed the name. Times have changed.
They have changed, that's for sure. Number one, the Wizards stink. They mostly do. So, not that they don't have a spark every now and then, but the Bullets,
that was a good team, yeah. Now, number 5.
Number 5. Number 5.
Number 5 was number 5.
Yes.
And all we have to say in Baltimore, the third baseman. Everybody knows who he is. Played from 55 to 77, 16 Gold Gloves, World Series MVP, 2-time champ, 18 All-Star games. Now, he played 22 years and was an 18-time All-Star.
At least 2 or 3 of those years, he was the one of them guys sitting on the bench or something.
And,
so, come on. Every time, ever since he was full-time, he's getting All-Star games.
Do you know who he is? Brooks Robinson.
Oh, Brooks.
But, like I said, all we have to do in Baltimore is say the third baseman.
Third baseman, that's right.
We know who we talked about.
To me, and you speak of highlights, you watch him, and he goes over that third baseline.
Grab the
and
ball.
he gets that baby, and he fires it
Yeah,
across.
gun.
Yeah, and that's there's few that I've seen do that. Of course, Manny, he's one of those guys.
Mr. Machado, yeah.
He can get over there and get them. Now, whether he's the greatest third baseman of all time.
The maturity level on him needs to come.
You know who the greatest third baseman of all time is?
I don't know who. Brooks Robinson. All right, moving on to number 4. Played from 66 to 71.
Any relation?
No relation. 2,900 hits, 500 home runs, coached, played, and managed. And this is the big one here. He won the Triple Crown. Now that is the best batting average for the year, most home runs for the year, and runs batted in.
He beat
all 3. He beat everybody.
And that's
tough.
everybody.
Frank Robinson.
And not only that, he helped take the Baltimore Orioles to several championships, and he was amazing for the city even after he came and coached the team. Of course, with the Washington
Nationals. He also coached San Francisco Giants, which I believe he took the Giants to a World Series or 2.
He didn't take us to the World Series.
No, but
I was glad.
But as a player, he was.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah. Number 3. This man, as I say, literally saved baseball. All right.
Baseball god.
Yeah. From 81 to 2001, 20 years. 3,000 hits, 400 home runs.
Probably my favorite player of all time.
Played and beat the record. Played 2,632 games.
Amazing.
Cal Ripken Jr.
So that means that up until that last season, he played every single game. And that's
for 20 years.
And everyone who watched him, we know what kind of player he was. He put his body on the line.
Day in, day out.
And I wonder if he did take those day offs. He might have had 500 home runs. But you know what?
We could have had more, 5,000 hits, 500 home runs.
5,000 hits?
Yeah.
And he had 5,000. He's already a base.
Should have hit 4,000 hits, right? All right, moving on to number 2. Arguably the greatest middle linebacker ever. Played from 96 to 2012. 2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl MVP, 13 Pro Bowls, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Our man, number 52, Ray Lewis.
Absolute maniac on the field.
Maniac.
And better believe that he was coming after you. And
you were getting stopped. Yeah, you were taking a hit.
You were taking a
big hit. You were taking a hit.
And we talked about this recently. I mean, even at the end, I mean, he was still in great physical condition.
Still playing to the top level.
And still pumping the team.
Yeah.
Those kids, they followed him. I mean, he was their
leader. The leadership that he brought to the clubhouse is just another whole discussion.
Right, and another hole.
Yeah.
It's a hole because,
now it's gone.
Right, our leadership has changed, and luckily Lamar, I think, is stepping up in that position.
Well, look, I think Lamar's going to be a phenomenal quarterback. Now we're going to do our honorable mentions before we get to number one.
Before we do that, how about an honorable mention for the place where we are?
Where we're at right now.
We'd like to thank the Lang family and Island View Waterfront Cafe because we hijacked their restaurant, even with some customers in it. So we really appreciate you and thanks for cooperating and letting us do our thing this evening.
And the first honorable mention probably will go down as one of the greatest safeties of all time. Multiple Pro Bowler, just entered the Hall of Fame.
Ball hog.
Ball hog. Hawk. Both right here. 104 touchdown return, none other than Ed Reed himself.
Amazing.
Absolutely
And even
amazing.
with that beard he was doing.
And he's still great.
Still great.
Right. Hopefully one day he'll be back onto the Ravens squad as a coach, which he does say he wants to coach, and I think he's going to be a phenomenal.
Could you imagine, now think about, like, and a bunch of the players were here, let's now think about all those guys getting back together and on the coaching staff and Belichick.
No.
Coaching that bad boy again with all the boys that he took to the
Belichick? Billick.
Billick, right?
I hate Billick. We'll move on from Billick.
But all the guys that he took to
I know, okay, it's
Super Bowl.
fine. Yeah.
Super Bowl, oh my God, that'd be great. All right.
Imagine if they'd coached together, it would be good. And our next honorable mention, I have to say, one of the greatest first basemen of all time, over 4,000 hits, 500 home runs, multiple All-Star appearances. I can't really say enough about this guy.
He was a machine.
Number 33, Eddie Murray.
Eddie, 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 Eddie.
The place went wild at Memorial Stadium when he got up to bat. Every time they started cheering at him.
You know, I don't even think he heard it. I mean, he seemed so focused every time he got up to that plate, and he could do it all
Yes, he can.
from both sides of the plate.
Yes, he was a switch hitter. Yes, he was.
And not only that, a great first baseman. I think that he, because he was, I'll stay away from the media a lot, that he got a bad name, but the fans of Baltimore, gosh, they love him.
The fans love him. That's all that matters.
Media, not so much.
Not so much.
Fans, yes.
And our final honorable mention, none other than probably the greatest baseball player of all time,
That's how I feel about it.
Babe Ruth.
Baltimore boy, another Baltimore boy.
Baltimore
That's
boy.
right.
He signed a minor league contract with the Baltimore Orioles, in which they sold that contract to the Red Sox. And then we all know what happened after that, after the Red Sox let him go. 74-year drought. The Red Sox didn't make it into the playoffs. Well, you were talking about a curse of the Babe.
Oh, God, that was a bad one.
That
That's
was a curse.
$125,000.
Right. And that, for 74 years, they didn't make it to the playoffs. Boy.
But he was a great pitcher, but not only that, man, when he found out what he was all about.
Yeah.
And we're just lucky that this is where I do that sometimes when I'm playing.
Do you? But you never get it done.
Never got the infield.
All right, now back to our number one. Well, some people would argue one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Well, I
argue that.
I believe he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
100%.
From 56 to 72, Super Bowl champ, 10-time Pro Bowl, Baltimore Colts quarterback, Johnny Unitas.
Taken too soon, too young. One of the ones that started airing it out.
Yes, he did.
You know what I mean?
He let that ball fly.
And I mean, stats compared to today's players, of course, a little different, but
Yeah, well, back then you couldn't touch. I mean, now you can't touch the quarterback.
That's right.
Back then you could maul him. I mean, right. So
yeah, but he's definitely one of the greatest of his era. I feel the greatest. The greatest.
I agree.
There's a lot of good ones back then. Fran Tarkenton and
Bart Starr. I mean,
so many. You know,
so many.
And, but to me, the greatest.
Yes. And we're now coming to the end of our top 10.
Now listen, everybody. Before we do that, remember at the end of the video, when you see that, there will be, if you enjoyed this, another video for you guys to go ahead and watch. But before we end it, Jimmy, what would we like them to do?
Click on that little logo, our watermark, and that'll take you to subscribe.
Automatic subscribe. After you do that, if you like what you saw, like those videos that you like to like.
Also, comment on the videos. If you have any questions or you want to add somebody to our list, go ahead and put it in the comment section.
And not only that, I know that GJ has been messing up tonight, and I've seen it all too, so you better get in there and tear him apart, and I'll be there to support you, I promise. Not only that, TJ, I appreciate it. Here we are doing the things that we love to do. So don't forget to hit that bell. Bing! And when you hit that, hear that, that's going to let you know that the Jays got it pumping. You run, you watch, you like, you subscribe, you comment. Okay. We appreciate you guys, and thanks for watching.
See you then.